Hi, welcome to the first episode of Chessbase Chat. I'm Dave, and I'm going to be the host here of the channel. What I'm trying to do here is learn how to use Chessbase, and I'm going to do that through effectively going through a set of tutorials to help myself and ultimately you as well get the most out of Chessbase. I'm no expert of chess. I'm a 1600, 1700 on a good day chess player, but I play, fairly regularly, and I want to get more out of my applications. So I have no affiliation with Chessbase. I've got no ulterior motive. I'm not sponsored or anything right now. So basically, this is going to be me learning Chessbase and giving you a set of tips of how to get the most out of your application. Chessbase isn't a cheap piece of software, so I really think that trying to get the most out of something like this is going to help in terms of justify the price tag and also to try and help your chess. So without further ado, what we're going to try and do to start with is create a new database and create our set of list of our games. Okay, so here's the window for Chessbase as it usually opens up. And what I like to do is create my databases in this little section here, the My Databases section. So the thing to do here is right click and click the new database. And then we're going to give this a file name. I'm going to call this one Chessbase Chat. You can call it obviously whatever you want to do. And you can see we've got a brand new database there. The important thing there was to keep that to the 2CBH file format rather than any of the other ones, because we get a few new features there that we'll talk about at a later point. Once you've done that, inside the properties, we can select a different icon. This is the only effect here is we have basically just different icons really. There are some other features here that we'll go through at a later point, whether or not the database is a training database that will test us, or what other databases we use if we imported other files into this one so that we don't duplicate games. But the probably most important thing that you want to do here is click the pin to favorites. And what that does is when you are creating new games of your own, maybe importing them from different events or putting them in from your score sheets, when you go to save the game, it will produce, it gives you this as a default, this database, and that's quite useful because you don't want to be storing your database, your games into random databases. The other one that's quite useful to talk about is the reference database, and this is obviously when we're creating our own games and storing them. We don't use this as a reference database. This is usually for things like a big opening book, or a big one of the mega databases that you might purchase or download off the internet. And those are the ones that give us all the different positions that we might want to search. So in general, we'll leave this alone, just have the pin to favorites. The other thing we can do is tidy up the name here and perhaps give it a little bit more of a friendly name. So Chessbase Chat here. So here you go, and now we've got our first database. Okay, so double click in the database will open up the list of games inside that database, and obviously there are none just yet. So how do we start putting games into our database? Well, very easily, we just click the board icon, and that gives us a board that we can start entering data. If we want to enter it from a black's perspective, we can just click the button at the top here, or we can enter it obviously from the standard white side. Easy things we can do. We can obviously drag and drop pieces, and that's fairly self-explanatory. But we can also click the square, and if there is an easy move that can be understood by Chessbase, then that move will be entered automatically. So this is quite a nice way of entering a very quick set of moves. And you can see here that it generally gets the options fairly accurate, depending on your standard of play, obviously. So we go through and we enter the database, the scores like this. One of the useful things you can do is look at the score sheet. So often when I'm entering my games, and if I've got lost in the list or whatever, I grab the score sheet view, and I can look at this because this is quite easy to reference then to see exactly where I am on my own score sheet if I've kind of gone a bit wrong. So this is what we're going to do, and I'm going to enter the rest of the game in, and then we'll get to saving the game into the database. So now that I've finished entering the game, what I'm going to do is save the game. So we can click the save button here. and this will now enter the details. So here is where we put the player details here. So it was, let's say it was Dave Ramsey against Sam Smith. We may have had a tournament. We may have said, okay, well it's today. The game was a draw, and we can put some ELO information in here as well if we really want to, like this. And if we've got any extra information as well with the tournament details and bits and pieces, we can obviously do all that. And that's quite useful for later searches if we want to find out, a particular tournament result or whatever. So at that point, we can click save. You'll see it's all entered here, and the game is saved. And you can see there's actually an evaluation as well with the computer doing an evaluation of the game going on there. So that's the first way of getting games in. And you'll see now this game's appeared. So what about importing a game from chess.com, for example, if we've just finished a game that we want to get into the database? Okay, well, this is how we do it. Okay, so I won that one in a little bit of a lucky fashion, but the key thing here is to then, once we finish that, is to click the analysis button, and we're going to get our game come up. And what we want to do is we want to hit the share button, and that's going to give us the PGN file, which is what we want. So we click that and we click copy, and what we're going to do then is go back to Chessbase and check out, see what happens. So you'll see that what happened is when I pressed the copy, Chessbase, because it was already opened, noticed that we had a game already in the clipboard, and it imported all of the data straight in. So that was just with me pressing Control and C on the PGN file. If I didn't have Chessbase open and I'd copied the game, by opening up Chessbase, and Chessbase will check to see what's in the clipboard, and we'll have the same kind of import. So here we go, we've got the data, we can see the game being played all the way through, and all we have to do now is click save, and you'll see that it asks us to see which database we want to save in. So we're going to say the Chessbase chat database, and all of the information is already set up. So now when we go back to the database now, we can see our latest game here. So that's a quick way of getting chess.com games in. Let's try and do the same thing now with Lichess. Okay, so we got a little bit lucky with that one as well. So now let's figure out how we're going to import this into Chessbase. So we can click the share and export on Lichess, and we can click down here into the game file, and again we'll click copy, and we'll go back to Chessbase and see what happens. Okay, as you can see in Chessbase, automatically the game has appeared, and we can see the game file here. Obviously, we were black, so we can flip it around and see exactly what happened. And you can see here we get the checkmate. So let's save this again, put it into our Chessbase chat. Click OK, and here you go. Now we've got our second game straight in from Lichess. So hopefully that gives you a kind of sample of what we can do. The last way of importing games is directly from a tournament report. So I played in a tournament last weekend. So let's go to the tournament website and we'll download the games that I played, and we'll get that into the database as well. So here was the chessresults.com tournament page, and here's me down here. So I can see there are some games available to download here. These were my games that I played. So I can come into here and I can do a search for my name here. And I can see that my games are all available. I can download them as a PGN file, and they're all downloaded. And automatically you'll see what happens here, that we get the games are automatically downloaded into a My PGN's downloads option in Chessbase. So how are we going to get those into the database? Well, it's really quite simple. So we're going to copy and paste those, and we can just drag them into our Chessbase database. And we can say, that all of these are all okay. So in they go. And now if we look at the Chessbase database now, we can also see all of our games from the last tournament. And this is a really easy way of getting them all in. And of course, they're all annotated nicely in terms of the metadata. So, which tournament they were in, which round, the date and things like that. So it's a really nice, easy way of getting, previous tournaments in. If for example, you've got websites of previous data, and couldn't really be easier, could it? So there we go. That's how you get your database started. Next time we'll look at, for example, how to find the most beautiful games. That's perhaps something quite nice to do. So we'll do that next. Until then, bye-bye.